probably gonna change the CD in my car. I'll listen to the same thing for weeks, sometimes months, and then I'll be like, okay, it's time to move on. And I have a ridiculous amount of CDs. And I'm sure you've noticed that I kind of listen to the same thing, like I just kind of recirculate. But I have so much music that there's really no excuse for me to be doing that. So I just rediscovered The Strokes. Their first 2 albums are fucking gold. Holy shit. So good. And then they decided to stop doing drugs, and it all went downhill from there. Okay? Fuck that shit. If you're better on drugs, stay on drugs. I stand by that. I mean, like, a lot of people, they kind of, like, fade away. They fade away. And that's so lame. Like, it's better to burn out. It really is. There's something way less depressing about burning out. Not to immortalize people that OD or die of alcohol poisoning or commit suicide, God forbid. That just means that they were able to touch on things that I think a lot of people don't. Like, I don't want to make it seem like it's cool to die of an alcohol or drug overdose. Or to be, like, so depressed that you take your own life. Oh, so selfishly. But, like, there's something about really understanding that level of consciousness and emotional pain and anguish. Like, there's something really remarkable about that. And just not being able to handle life. And making it obvious. I mean, because a lot of these people, they put out really beautiful music. You know? And I think that the reason why they're able to do that is because they have a heightened level of awareness of things. And that's really hard, especially living in this stupid fucking world. You know, that's what artists are supposed to do. Artists are supposed to express what all the normal people can't express. And so a lot of my frustrations with smartphones and my frustrations with, you know, the toxicity of our culture and the over-politicization of everything. How do you say politicization? I don't know. That doesn't sound right, but whatever. You know what I meant. Like, everything's political now. You can't say anything without somebody getting offended by it. People are so sensitive. People are way more narcissistic and less empathic than they've ever been. Okay? So, I feel like it's the responsibility of, like, the artist and the outsider to really point at it and talk about that and express what people can't express. Because, yeah, like, everybody's feeling it. Everybody's feeling this suckage, this soul suckage, this horrible, horrible energy of everything around them. And they don't know what it is, but I do. Okay? So because I know what it is, I feel like I have to do it. I have to do all these posters. I have to do all these videos, even if it's just a very limited amount of people that watch them. You know. There's this level of understanding that we have. And you can count on me to just fucking say it. Whatever it is. Whatever it is everybody else is too chicken shit to say, I'll fucking say it, because I don't care.
I'm already an outsider, so what the fuck are they gonna do to me? They could stone me to death, I can't fucking wait. You know? But you know, some people really like the music that I do. Whatever it is. Well, because it's not traditional songwriting. It's not traditional anything in relation to music. You know, it's punk. It's fuck you. Fuck you. You know, that's what it is. It's like everything about it screams that energy. But I don't want to be a traditional songwriter because that's boring to me. And it's also like not for me. You know, like people that are meant to do that do it so well that I don't want to bastardize the whole thing by attempting to do that. You know, I know what I'm good at, I know what I suck at. It makes more sense to go with yourself than it is to try to fit into some mold that you know is never going to work. That's why I'm not in a relationship. But a lot of people think that's a problem, you know? Like, they look at everything that's different, anything that they don't understand, like it's a problem. Like, God, it's got to be a problem for you, because that would be a problem for me, you know? They have no choice but to project. That's an example of narcissism. Not NPD, mind you, but just narcissism itself. You just assume that your feelings are everybody else's feelings. And if somebody doesn't share your feelings, they're a terrible person. There's something wrong with them. So, I mean, I'm not trying to deny that anything's wrong with me. But I don't think that wanting to be alone all the time is wrong. It's like a huge load off, you know? Relationships are such a mess, though. But I'm genuinely happy for people that can find a mate. And it's not just some, like, delusional shit, you know? You know that phase where you're, like, so in love with that person, and then you find out they're a total piece of shit, and you put them on a pedestal for no reason, and that sucks. But that's kind of what love is, though. It's kind of like, when you're in love with somebody, that's what it does to you. Like, you both are narcissistically obsessed with each other, because it's like a mirror that's reflecting back to you. And then whenever that mirror doesn't prove that it's what you wanted it to be, you're going to get mad and resent that person, you know? And I think people can be manipulative, for sure. But I also think that people just don't really know themselves. And if they don't know themselves, they're not going to be a good fit in any kind of relationship. And they're probably going to attract really toxic people. I can only give you 10%, if that. Because I know that's not fair. It's not fair for me to knowingly put myself in a situation with somebody that obviously wants more from me than I'm willing to give them. And it's not just a case of me not wanting to do it. It's a case of me, like, not being any good at it. So it's like, why would I volunteer to do something that I know I'm going to suck at? You know? It's like, if I don't have good coordination, I'm probably not going to be a dancer. But that's also why I make so much art, because like I'm emotionally unstable, so I don't feel like I'm fit to be in a relationship anyway. You know? You forget bringing children into the world because that's so much responsibility. You know? And not enough people think about that when they have sex. Not enough people think about that when they get married. Not enough people think about that when they choose a mate. Like, you need to be asking a lot more questions than you ask when you have sex with somebody, okay? If I could give you advice, it would be that. But, you know, these are just suggestions. I'm just saying, dude. It's so crazy to me if you think about it. Like, how people just sleep with somebody willy-nilly. And it's like they're terrible for them. It's like getting pregnant, getting an STD. Like, obviously those are problems, right? But like, I mean, if you don't want to get pregnant, it's a problem. But I would say that like being emotionally invested in somebody that's not good for you, that's a way more major problem. Going with somebody that's lying to you, manipulating you, using you, that's a way major problem. So it's like you got unwanted pregnancy, unwanted STD. At least I like to think that people don't want an STD. Unwanted sociopathy, unwanted narcissism, unwanted complications. But all relationships are complicated. Is it really worth it to do it? If 9 times out of 10 you don't even get what you want most of the time. Totally illogical. Totally illogical, but people think I'm the whack job, you know? I'm the whack job because I don't want to do something that makes no logical sense. But you know, I'm just not cut out for it though. If you're cut out for it, then you do it, because it makes more logical sense for you. You know? Just really think about who you're invested in, you know? It's like I know a lot of people that had to go through a pretty nasty divorce. Well, also, you know, I understand that things change, circumstances change, and, like, I've talked to so many men that have said that they lost their wives to social media. Yeah. So, men are losing their wives to social media, women are losing their husbands to porn, which is essentially the same thing. Because you're living in this false reality of validation, whether you're getting validation from a total stranger or you're getting validation from a sex slave, okay? It's all sex slavery if you think about it. So even a woman and a man, people that subject themselves to doing pornography, it's like, they're obviously not in a good headspace if that's their chosen profession, okay? I would say that that's probably a profession that chose them because of their past experiences that I'm willing to bet a lot of money were not very good, okay? So, if you masturbate to internet porn, it's like you are lending yourself to an industry that has the full intention of slavery. So it's like, not just the people involved, but they want you to be a slave to your vices. Run by Jews, too. They want to spit in the face of Christ. That was the whole point of it. You can read that shit on Wikipedia. They just straight up say it, dude. No shame at all. But yeah. Anyway, what was the point? What was I talking about? Just one of this rant about relationships. No, but it's wonderful if you can find a mate. If you can find a mate that you can be bored with and be okay with that boredom. You know? Like, I have this inner restlessness. You know, it's constant conflict. I'm always talking to myself about something. You know, if I'm not, that's fantastic because I, get sick of hearing my own voice, believe it or not. I know I'm funny. I know I say things that are true and genuine and very accurate, but it's like just exasperating being the person that I am sometimes. And I would never want to subject somebody to that. I already have, and like I talked to Judson today, and I talked to him for a couple of hours, and it was lovely talking to him. And I totally understand why we had the connection that we did. And I'm so lucky for that. I'm so lucky that we met, and then we had that, like, fluke of a romantic thing. Is that the right word, fluke? It's like a mirage or something. But that's mainly because I was delusional at the time. I was delusional. He was drunk. Like, he literally kissed me in the middle of the street when he was drunk. Which I thought was super masculine. But yeah, like, it just doesn't work out. Like, having somebody there, it's just, he's in fucking Uruguay. He's been there for, like, months, just by himself, making art, So, like, yeah, I just don't think it's conducive for, like, really, like, compulsive artists. Especially if they have, like, the OCD thing. It just doesn't seem like relationships are our thing. Now, I know there are exceptions to this. I know that there are plenty of people in satisfactory relationships, but I just don't think they're that crazy. Is that wrong for me to assume that? It's like Mark Maron said, like, that mentally ill people had way more to offer comedically. And I think that's very true. And so, like, the more of an outsider you are, like, the more shit that you have to deal with on a psychological level, like, the better you are at creating this other world that's an alternative to the one that you find so objectionable, So, comedy definitely chose me. And I don't think that it's any coincidence that I opted into an industry that has sort of forced me to hold certain parts of my country under a microscope and examine them more closely, So, when I talk about things like obesity and when I talk about things like, addiction and this need for validation and this need for approval and, wanting to fit into a group and all that shit, it's like, I just study y'all. I study y'all. And you don't even know it because you're too busy sending hashtags and emojis and taking selfies and sending Snapchats and watching TikToks and wasting your life in many other ways that I can't even think of right now. But those are just off the top of my head. But yeah, I have no choice but to do what I'm doing. So I really hope that something happens with it. Judson was like, well, you already make so much art. Like, eventually, like, it will be noticed by somebody. Because a lot of artists have the same problem that you do. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the ones that are more success-driven are obviously, like, a lot more narcissistic. Because they need to be validated in that way. Like, if they make it big,
they can pat themselves on the back and be like, look what I did, you know? So, and it's not just Kanye. I mean, plenty of artists are like that. I would say that the entirety of rap music centers around that. Ego, 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 you know? It's just that Kanye is brutally honest about it. And it pisses a lot of people off, but there's something honorable in being brutally honest. And knowing that people are going to hate you for it, but you still say it anyway. Ugh. You think this is still good? It still looks alright. It says Best Buy the end of July. I don't even know what month it is. I think it's August, right? It's the 6th. It's the 6th. So am I taking a chance with my life if I were to use this cilantro? It really doesn't look that bad. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Just pray for me, okay? Pray that I don't die. I don't think I will. Ugh. Yeah, so I didn't do comedy this past week, and like I feel guilty about it. Like I'll tell myself that like other things matter, but I mean they really don't. You know? Like I was talking to my friend Charter Aswad. He's another comedian. You might remember him from like previous videos, or he's either laughing in the audience or maybe he's hosting a mic as like a guest host or whatever. But like, you know, it's a huge part of like the relief that we get. Like I don't get relief from like being up there. I think a lot of comedians do, but I get relief just knowing that I'm doing God's will. It's a little different for me, but it's still some kind of relief. Like I get way more of like a dopamine rush just knowing that I am not like chickening out. Cause like it's really difficult for me because I still have really bad stage fright. Like that has not gone away. It's like it doesn't matter how many times I've done it, it's still there. And so I'm trying to have a little bit more fun with it. And Judson even mentioned that he talked about how like he's been watching my recent comedy videos online. He's like, something changed with you. Like you seem more confident than normal. So I definitely feel that way too. So I'm glad that it's noticeable. Because I know Nicholas mentioned that shit too. Appreciate your viewership. Appreciate the fact that you get it. But yeah, there's not really like an outsider comedian right now because they all have smartphones and they're totally fine with social media taking over the world. And if you met these comedians, you'd understand because you'd see them on their phones like pretty much all the time. But you know, I can't really give people anything but my perspective, you know? And my perspective is pretty dark. But people are seeing it more and more. They're seeing that I'm right about that shit. And, you know, even if they're not willing to do anything different, at least they laugh. They laugh. Sort of embarrassingly. Because I think that everybody is kind of ashamed, like they know that they're part of the problem. But, you know, it's not a problem if everybody accepts it. Like, that's precisely the issue with, you know, what I call the eggshell people. You know, people are so afraid to confront those types that, not to say that confronting them is going to fix it or anything, but they just kind of cater to the behavior rather than try to navigate around it or understand it. So they tell themselves, oh, there's nothing there's nothing wrong with this, even though it's really not normal to treat people like shit, and then justify your behavior with like, oh, well, if you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have completely overreacted, you know? I mean, reacting, period, is not good, you know? Responding to situations, that's far more logical. But these people aren't logical. They're governed by their emotions. And their emotions are deeply rooted in shame and insecurity that they can't even put their finger on. They just know that that's how they feel, and they want to get away from the feeling. And if you don't help them to do that, then they will naturally hate you for reasons that they don't even understand. But that's where we come in, y'all. That's where we come in. We are here to do the dirty work. Think of me as a plumber. Only I'm fixing the toilets of the world.